Number 10, Julianne Genter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Transport and asks, does the draft government policy statement on transport funding identify any funding for the Auckland City Rail Link in the transport budget over the next decade?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, the government policy statement on land transport is produced in accordance with the Land Transport Management Act 2003. It covers a period of 10 years, is released every 3 years, and is released a year before it comes into effect. The first government policy statement on land transport was produced in 2008 and amended in 2009. The current government policy statement on land transport was released in 2011, and the 2015 government policy statement is now out for consultation. The government policy statement on land transport has never mentioned funding for the Auckland electrification, the Wellington electrification extension, or the new electric trains for those networks. That funding was provided outside the National Land Transport Fund. Mr. Speaker, the government's public statements and commitments to the City Rail Link can be relied on outside of the GPS.
Supplementary question, Julianne Genter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the government is actually committed to funding the City Rail Link, why isn't it included in the transport budget over the next 10 years, given the widespread benefits to Auckland commuters, especially road users, as it will free up the roads for those who need to drive?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, the government policy statement on land transport is a document that guides local authorities, that guides the New Zealand Transport Agency, that guides regional councils throughout the country in their decisions about roading, both state highway and local roads, and also public transport provision. Mr. Speaker, it does not provide funding for the sort of infrastructure the member is now saying she would like to see in there. If that's the case, get out there, win the election, become part of the government and change the 2003 Act.
Point of order.
Point of order, Julianne Genter.
Mr. Speaker, I understand what the Minister has said. I'm not sure if he understood my question, because my question was why? Why is it not included?
I heard the question. I'm sure
it is
the
a
Minister...
transport project.
Order. I heard the question. I'm sure the Minister, why isn't it included? And the Minister's giving a very full answer as to why not. Supplementary question, Julianne Genter.
Does he agree with his transport policy statement when it says, I quote, livable, well-connected cities are critical to our economic and social prosperity? And if so, why is his government delaying the City Rail Link when this is essential to enable hundreds of thousands of Aucklanders to get around the city and to get the full economic benefits of a livable city?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
It will come as no surprise, Mr. Speaker, that I do agree with my own comments in the government policy statement, and I realise that for some members of the House, agreeing with their own comments can be a very dangerous thing. But all I can say to you, Mr. Speaker, is you know me. This is a project that's bigger than both of us. I've got my team here. Get on board.
Order. Supplementary question, Julianne Genter.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Point of order, Julianne Genter.
Mr. Speaker, the question did ask why the government was delaying the City Rail Link. I didn't hear an answer to that question.
The member's been here now a substantial length of time. She asked a supplementary question that included two questions. The Minister chose to address the first part of that question and did so. Point of order, Julianne Genter.
I seek leave to table a chart. It's a table from the business case for the City Rail Link, which shows the majority of the transport benefits.
Order. I need the source of the document.
Perceived. It's APBMB. It's the CBD Rail Link study business case, and it shows the majority of the benefits.
Order, on the basis it may not be freely available to members and may be of some benefit to them, I'll put the leave of sort to table this particular document. Is there any objection? There is none. It can be tabled.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Julianne Genter.
Is the Minister aware of the statistics compiled by his ministry that show that road use has been declining in Auckland for 7 consecutive years now, while public transport use, walking and cycling, have grown exponentially? And if so, why is he still prioritizing the bulk of the funding on motorways that will make congestion worse?
Honourable
Speaker,
Jerry Brownlee.
that is a very interesting graph, no doubt produced by someone in the Green Party, but it does have to be in a scale that is fairly representative. The reality is that over 80% of all land transport journeys taken in Auckland are taken on the road. And, Mr Speaker, we're delighted that public transport is starting to be more part of Aucklanders' transport choice. That's why the government has co-invested in the electrification and the new trains for that area, and is committed to the rail link from 2020.
Supplementary question, Julianne Genter.
Does the minister realise that the reason so many Aucklanders are stuck in their cars and will continue to be stuck in their cars is precisely because his government's unbalanced transport spend isn't investing enough in modern public transport and safe walking and cycling, and if he did that, it would not only take pressure off the roads, it would help get the economic benefits of a livable city?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Well, Mr Speaker, it's an interesting question because it sort of flies in the face of the previously introduced material. So if road use has been falling for 7 years, then that would mean it's been less inconvenience for people for 7 years. But we all know that's not the fact. There has to be a better roading network, and the member can talk all she likes about walking and cycling. I have to go to China to find cycles that carry the sort of freight loads that we put on trucks. I don't want to see that in New Zealand.
Order.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I have a point of order. Julianne Genter.
I seek leave to table this graph showing how unbalanced the government's transport spend is for the next 10 years.
I can sense from that there's not even any point in me putting the leave. Question number 11, Chris Hipkins.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Education. Is she satisfied that schools receive sufficient